Well, Roman and I are very excited to bring to you a summary of the innovations that have been delivered on the CRM Analytics platform over the last 2 years, and we look forward to many more innovations in the future.
So let's start with the engagement layer. Here I see two main improvements. The first one is the introduction of unified analytics within Salesforce. Now you have one place where you can access all reporting and analytics related assets, from standard reports and dashboards to all CRM analytics assets like apps, datasets, lenses, dashboards, and models to Tableau Cloud dashboards. No need to switch between different tabs anymore. The second main feature are the collections. With collections, users can select their mainly used assets from several apps or folders. So it's easier for them to access these assets. And you can share collections with other users. So when you're an experienced user, you can help new users to find the relevant assets very quickly. With that, let's move on to the data layer, where we see a long list of improvements and new capabilities. The most striking feature is the new data manager, which is now based on Lightning technology and gives more flexibility, like sorting columns, searching, and improved usage overview. On top, with the new technology, we have more options for further improvements coming in future releases. Here we introduced copy and paste of recipe notes not only within one recipe, but even across recipes. We have now a proper version history of recipes and join recommendations, which allow you to select the objects you want to use even faster than before. Additionally, we introduced new transformations. For objects which are not part of the data synchronization, you can now digest the data directly into a recipe. With a new update node, we make it easier to process incremental updates in your data. We added the cross-join to the join types, which is creating all possible combinations of two tables, the so-called Cartesian product. You might know the time series function from the dashboard design. Now we have that available even in recipes to create new rows with predicted numbers in datasets, which makes planning scenarios easier. For English language, we brought in the text sentiment smart transformation to derive a positive, neutral, or negative mood in a text. And finally, we introduced a new field type, the multi-value fields, and specific functions to treat them right in a recipe. But that's still not the end of the story. We improved the way to schedule recipes so you can select external connections or CSV uploads to trigger the execution of recipes now. And to make it easier to connect to your non-Salesforce data, we introduced a number of new connectors to Databricks, Google Analytics, HubSpot, Tableau, and even an output connector to Azure Data Lake. And over the last 3 releases, we spent a lot of efforts and focused on improvements on the backend to increase the reliability and performance of recipes and simplify error handling. Finally, let's take a look at Designer Layer and the main improvements we see here. First of all, we had some important, more technical changes with a new revamped dashboard inspector and a new compact form structure, which is the structure to store the dashboard instructions in JSON. We also created or improved the abilities to send live queries to Salesforce objects, Data Cloud, and external sources like Snowflake and BigQuery. We closed an important gap regarding bindings, which were preventing you from editing parts of the queries in the UI or using the SQL editor. Now you can use bindings even within the SQL editor and run the queries to check the results. We brought in additional properties of the dashboard widgets, like editing column names in the context menu of the measure, like wrapping text and resizing columns and tables, used the shorten number feature in dynamic text and reference lines, using totals and subtotals and pivot tables, and apply conditional formatting for borders and backgrounds of number widgets. But more importantly, we introduced 3 new widget types. First of all, we have the component widget. It is like a dashboard within a dashboard. You can reuse a component in many other dashboards. You can edit the component once to apply the changes in all the dashboards where you are using the component. The component also lets you create more interactive dashboards without maintaining lots of pages in a single dashboard. And furthermore, we increased the flexibility with bindings like parameters for components and increased the limit of components per dashboard from 10 to 20. The second new widget is the repeater widget, which brings totally new ways to visualize data. You can create killer tables, how some of our colleagues, the product management, is calling it, or card style, and even apply conditional symbols and images. And the third new widget is the input widget. which allows you to enter number-based information to the dashboard so you can use it for calculations and solve simple what-if scenarios. And to come to an end, we got the new widget interactions, which allow us to create optimized navigation within and across dashboards, minimize the number of clicks for the end users, and start actions or flows depending on the selected data rows. For this new feature, let me show you a quick example. We introduced the widget interactions in Spring 23 release. In my example, I'm combining the selection of a chart segment with the navigation to another page, so we get a predefined drill-through path. At the end of the path, we can use a widget interaction on a text widget to reset all filters and go back to the initial view.